All right, good morning, everyone. Good morning. We're back learning Chassidut. We're learning Chassidut. We're learning a mimer, a Chassidic discourse of the Lubavitcher Rebbe from 1955. 1955. And in it, it discusses what is exactly the months of the year, the Jewish months of the year, and their implication. The reason this is important is because this Shabbat is called Shabbat Parshas HaChodesh. We bless the month of Nisan, the coming month of Nisan, which in the month of Nisan is the month when the Jewish people got out of Egypt. And it's a special month. But first of all, let's give charity. Let's give charity like we do every day. Charity and protect our soldiers, save the world. All the good things in the world should come to be, and the bad things should transform to good. Let me just move the light over here. Lighting. All right. Is all right? Yeah. Some sort of a shade or something. All right. Anyway, that's what we got. Oh, we discussed last time in this we discussed last time that God creates the world, and He creates the world in such a way that He wants us to be His partners. He wants us to be His partners. What does it mean that He wants man to be His partners? That we're here to transform the world, to make it into a godly place. Now, this is a little bit hard for us to understand because we've never done it before, and there's no example of it in our lifetime of what it means. But at least we can sort of understand what's really going on. For instance, when the first man was created, Adam was created, so it says that godliness was everybody. Let's just take a simple psychological example. Adam knew that he didn't have a mother and a father. Adam, first man, didn't have a mother and a father. How did he come to being? How did he come to existence, right? He could have looked around, seen all the animals, and thought, well, maybe there is, evolution or something. Maybe I can't. No, he knew that 1 second ago he wasn't here, and all of a sudden he's there, right? All of a sudden he's there. God just created him from absolutely nothing. So Adam knew clearly that he was created from nothing. Adam knew clearly that the whole world was being created from nothing. Adam knew clearly that the whole entire world is a big miracle, constantly, all the time, big miracle. But one of the things that God created with Adam was free will. That's the main reason He created Adam, man, free will. God created angels, He created stars, He created all these other things. They don't have free will. Man has free will. Because man has free will, so therefore, he has the free will to make important decisions. What's important decisions? If you should live in this country or that country, if you should have this type of a car, that type of a car, that type of a horse, or whatever he wanted. He had free will. What did he have to choose? To serve God or not to serve God? So a normal person will think, that's pretty boring. That's all he has to choose from. He has only two selections. Like they used to say with Henry Ford, he said that you can have any color you want. He made the Model T Ford first. Any color you want as long as it's black. The same thing, you can choose anything you want to as long as it's God. You can choose, but that's not so. Adam he had a big choice, the main choice which there is in the world, and that is who to be loyal to. Who to be loyal to? Should he be loyal to his creator, or should he be loyal to himself? Right? Which urges should he follow? So of course we know what happened. We know what's happened. It's pretty well known in the whole world that Adam made the wrong choice. Okay, but why was it important to God that what choice man made? What did He care? Let God just make the world, and that's it. Do whatever you want to. Whatever is practical. You're doing practical things. And also, what was so bad about eating from the tree? Don't eat from this tree. The day you eat from it, it'll die. So let him die. Right? God should have just left the whole thing go. And we see that Adam, in fact, he ate from the tree and he did not die. Right? But it's not so. The day that Adam ate from the tree, he died to his awareness of God, died. His awareness of God. And awareness of God means awareness of truth. Awareness of truth. Right? And lacking awareness of truth means that everything you look at, you think is true, but it's really not. You don't know what truth is. Truth is hidden. And to this day, it's hidden from us. When God gave the Torah, truth was revealed. People, everyone felt that God is creating them and is creating them for a purpose. Creating them for a purpose. Everyone saw it. About 300 years, something like that. Before that, 400 years before that, Adam, no, I'm sorry, at the right 400 years, so, is Abraham. Abraham also saw the truth. He realized that God is creating the world and is creating the world so that we should do what God wants, and that improves the whole entire world. And God promised him that you just do what I want, and the whole world will see it's going to be improved. And he promised him the land of Israel. Israel is going to be the source of truth. And Abraham did whatever God wanted, and he didn't get it. God did not give him what he promised, and not to Abraham, not to Yitzchak, not to Yaakov, not to all of them. Now in our generation, God is going to do it. That's what we believe. We had the temple, we didn't get it right. We had the second temple, we didn't get it right. Now in our generation, we're going to see what Adam saw. We're going to see what Abraham saw. Okay, so that's what the Rebbe is saying. What did Abraham see? What did they see? That the whole entire creation is designed in a way that it can reveal the truth. It can reveal the truth. And what's the truth? That God is creating us. And he's creating us for a purpose. The whole world. It's like the difference between a sick person and a healthy person. A sick person gets used to being sick. Right? People who are hypochondriacs, they just think that that's reality. That just becomes reality to them. They're just always sick. My back hurts, my leg, my head. Now yesterday was my head. Today it's my leg. Today it's my leg and my head and my arm. They're just making the whole thing up, but they think it's real. So the whole world is hypochondriacs. The whole world doesn't know what health is. We've been throughout thousands of years since the Holy Temple, at least, and we just don't know what really true health is. So the Rebbe is trying to make the world healthy. He's trying to tell us that God does exist and God cares about us and God wants to reveal the truth, who we really are, what the world really is. Oh, says the Rebbe, there's two ways of doing it. Either God can do it on his own, that's represented by the month of Nisan, or that God wants us to do it, that's represented by the month of Tishrei. Tishrei was the month when Adam was created. God wanted Adam to do it all on his own. Nisan is the month that the Jews got out of Egypt. God did the whole thing on his own. Nisan, so to speak, is God's month. Tishrei is man's month. Okay, there is an argument in the Talmud between Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yehoshua. And Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yehoshua, they argue about when the world was created and when the Jews are going to get out of Egypt. When the Jews are going to, when Moshiach is going to come, I'm sorry. When the Jews are going to, right? Everyone agrees that the Jews got out of Egypt in Nisan. That everybody agrees. The question is, when was the world created? Right? Rabbi Yeshua says the world was created in Nisan and the Jews are going to get out of in Nisan. Right? Rabbi Eliezer says the world was created in Tishrei. Let me get this right. The world was created in Tishrei, and the Jews are going to get out of, I think I got this wrong, but in any case, the Moshiach is going to come in Tishrei. Okay, here we go. Let's go. The argument between Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yehoshua is also regarding the future redemption. Rabbi Eliezer thinks that in Nisan, we were redeemed. We went out of Egypt. That's right. In Nisan, we went out of Egypt, but in Tishrei is going to be the future redemption. Tishrei. Mashiach is going to come in the month of Tishrei. Now, the month when we do all the work. Rabbi Yehoshua, let me make this. Let me get the pointer. Rabbi Yehoshua, he thinks that in Nisan we were redeemed. We got out of Egypt. Everyone agrees that. But in Nisan is going to be the future redemption. Now, how is it going to be? We're going to see. We're going to see 1 second. So, in other words, Rabbi Eliezer, he says that the future redemption is going to be by means of us. It's going to come in Tishrei. And Rabbi Yeshua says, no, it's going to be a big miracle. It's going to come from God. Nisan. Okay, the Tzemach Tzedek, the third Rebbe of Chabad, he explains the Azli L'Shitase, that both of them go according to their idea about how the redemption is going to be. Rabbi Eliezer says that if the Jewish people do tshuva, if the Jewish people return to their Jewish identities, nigalim, then they're going to be redeemed. If not, they won't be redeemed. In other words, that's what the Mashiach has to do. Mashiach has to come, and one of the jobs of Mashiach is to bring Mashiach. In other words, Mashiach has to come to educate the Jewish people. That's what Chabad is doing. That's why so many people think the Rebbe Lubavitcher is the Mashiach. Besides the fact that he has the qualifications of Mashiach, but he's doing the job of Mashiach, educating the Jews who they really are so that they can turn on the Jews. That's what Chassidut is, to turn on the Jews, light the Jews up. Someone once come into the Rebbe and he said that, what exactly is Chassidut Chabad? What does the Rebbe do? So the Rebbe said that all Jews are like candles, like lamps, and I just light them up. So the Rebbe said, this person said to the Rebbe, have you lit my lamp up? The Rebbe said, no, I just gave you a match. I gave you a match. You can, right? A lighter. You can light it. Do it yourself. But at least he provided something. You have to do the work on your own. That's what Rabbi Eliezer says. Look, and therefore, severely, he says that in Tishrei is going to be the future redemption. Because then tshuva, then when Jews return to their Jewish identity and they start to serve God, then tshuva mekadbelet biyoter seit. Therefore, that's the time when prayers are received. Rosh Hashanah, that's the beginning of the year. And all of our prayers are more, it's a propitious time to pray to God, and God accepts our prayers. We decide the whole year in Rosh Hashanah. The Geula, that which the Jews went out of Egypt, was in Nisan. Everybody agrees with that. Both Rabbi Yeshua and Rabbi Eliezer, that when Nisan, the Geula Tira, and the future redemption is going to be in Tishrei. Why? Because She'em Chalukim Bofanim, because they are different in their nature. The going out of Egypt was by means of God's revelation from above. The word Nisan means Nisim, miracles. Also, it comes in the month of Aviv. Aviv is Aleph based, coming from above to below, from the beginning. And therefore, going out of Egypt was in Nisan. And that's why also it didn't last, because God did everything. We were not used to making the right choices. God made all the choices for us. It is, but the Geula Tita, says Rabbi Eliezer, the future redemption is going to be by means of tshuva, the service of the Jewish people. Therefore, it's going to be in the month of Tishrei. Huh? Sounds good. This is Gam Atam, also the reason that the Geula, the going out of Egypt, and also all of the redemptions were after it, was a Geula Sheish Achrei Galus, that after the Jews got out of Egypt, they went into exile again. Huh? They made mistakes. They received the Torah and they worshipped the golden calf. Okay, so they got over that. Then after that, they had the first temple and they sinned, and then they were taken over by Babylon. And then they had the second temple, and then we're still in the middle of it. We're in the gullus of the exile of Rome, it says. Why? Because the Jews didn't do it themselves. That's why it says that in the going out of Egypt, the month of Nisan means God did everything. Because why? Bechinas, this is in the Keva, because this is what's called, the Jews were still like the feminine aspect. They were weak. They were receivers. They wanted to receive. Right? What happened? Why did the Jews serve the golden calf? Moses went up on Mount Sinai, and the Jews said, hey, we're not receiving anything. Like, God took us out of Egypt. Wow, that's really great. The God split the sea. Wonderful. God gave us the Torah. Wow, we're so happy. No, what's happening now? 50 days? Nothing. What are we going to do? Well, what about serving a golden calf? Everybody said, oh, now you got an idea. There we have a good idea. Right? It says, but it's forbidden to do. We heard at Mount Sinai, you can't do it. It says, that was at Mount Sinai. That was 50 days ago. Now things have changed. Now we're on our own. Right? God is not giving us anything. What are we supposed to do when we're on our own? I don't know. All of a sudden came the mixed multitude. They made a golden calf and said, here it is. They didn't know how to make the right choices. That's why when they went out of Egypt, because God was doing everything, they were what's called on the level of a nekeva, of feminine. namely what? A feminine, the earth, like Mother Earth, only receives. And as soon as they didn't receive, they didn't know what to do. Geula, to the future redemption, according to Rabbi Eliezer, was going to be a Geula. It's going to be eternal. There won't be any exile after it. This is going to be Zachar. It's going to be masculine. What does it mean, masculine? It's going to be in the month of Tishrei. Tishrei is the month when we do the whole thing ourselves. Ki ish mazriya techila. It says that if a man gives seed first, it gives birth to a feminine, to a woman, a girl. Isha mazriya techila yolda zachar. Okay, exactly what this means in physical reality, I don't exactly know. But what it does mean as far as Hasidut is concerned, and obviously it must have meaning physically also, but Hasidut means that if the man gives seed first, Jewish people and God are called wife and husband. The Jewish people are the wife, and God is the husband. The Jewish people are like the moon, God is like the sun. We're the receivers. So it says, when a man and his wife, if they have relations, the man gives seed first. In other words, what does it mean that God does everything? Then the result is that the child is a female, and female is weak. Female means the receiver. But if the female gives seed first, there's all sorts of different opinions what this means. But if the female gives seed first, in other words, the work comes from us, from below, then the result is a male child. In other words, it's strong. So the same thing is if the Jewish people do the work, the Jewish people, they do the work, in our relationship between us and God, then the resultant child is masculine, male, strong, powerful, can make the proper decisions, can defy the world, can defy negative forces, negative urges. So therefore, that's what Rabbi Eliezer says, that the future redemption is going to be in the month of Tishrei. We're going to do the work, and then it's going to be strong, powerful. There won't be any, we won't be like women. We have to receive all the time from God like we did it going out of Egypt. Okay, so now Rabbi Yeshua, how does Rabbi Yeshua fit this in? Rabbi Yeshua, he says that the future redemption is going to be in Nisan. And Nisan only produces weak offspring. So how is the future redemption going to be? We'll see. Rabbi Yeshua, he says, Lo b'kesef tigalu, lo b'tshuva. It says you won't be redeemed with, it's a sentence in Isaiah. God says, you will not be redeemed with silver. What is silver? Love, your work. Nothing that you do is going to bring you redemption. Lo b'tshuva o ma'asim tovim, afilu ein osim tshuva nigalim. In other words, Rabbi Yeshua says that even if the Jewish people don't do tshuva, even if they don't do anything, that they're all scattered around the world, nevertheless, God says, I'm going to redeem you. All of a sudden, all the Jews are going to wake up. Something like this was in the 6-Day War. The Rebbe even had a mimer about it. The big shofar was sounded. Jews totally unaffiliated, uninterested Jews all of a sudden woke up. 6-Day War, everybody woke up. All the Jews suddenly woke up. The Jews, we were attacked from all sides, and there was no doubt in anyone's mind that only America would save the Jews. 6-Day War. The whole world was against us. Nobody helped. America didn't help, and the United Nations, and of course, the United Nations. Russia was helping the enemy. 6-Day War. Everyone was against us. Everybody. And all of a sudden, we won. Right? We won the war. Amazing miracles. All the Jews woke up. All of the Jews everywhere in the world, they all woke up. Incredible. People had never put on tefillin in the world in their lives. Israelis, they went to the wall, the Western Wall. They were crying. They were putting on tefillin. They had these soldiers from the leftist kibbutzim, Shomer at Sa'ir, paratroopers with tefillin on, all these stories. Something like that. That's what Rabbi Yeshua says. That even if the Jewish people don't do tshuva and they're not ready for it, when the time comes, all of them are going to wake up, not on their own work. And therefore, Spirla, he says that in Nisan, that's going to be the redemption. God's going to do it all. That which the future redemption is going to be eternal, which we said it can't be eternal if God does everything. It's going to be Zachar, like we said, it's going to be powerful. Even though the future redemption is going to be from above, like it was when we went out of Egypt. And when we went out of Egypt and God did everything, the results were very disappointing, right? The Jews were very weak. No? So it's not good if God does everything. How does Rebbe Yeshua explain that? If God's going to do everything in the future redemption, listen to this. The revelation that's going to be in the future, it's from such a high place. That even when God does everything, it's going to give birth to a zachar. It'll make us strong. Kalomar, like it says, the Tzion Yomar, to Zion, the Jewish people will say, Ish ve'ish yuladbo. Ish ve'ish, whether the Jewish people do tshuva, or Ish or the Jewish people don't do tshuva, the God has to do everything. The result will be a male child, strong. The Jewish people was strong. Because God will do everything. Okay, I want to explain what this is. This whole idea of doing tshuva and coming, the Moshiach coming, is a very, very personal, individual, intimate thing. The essence of every human being will be awakened. It's not that everybody will suddenly be like hypnotized like zombies and they'll all walk down the streets, with glassy eyes and saying Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, Hashem Asher Yoshvei. Everybody's going to be just, how do you say, the good kids. Good kids, like little kids in a school. They're all afraid of the teacher, right? Everybody quiet. I'm going to hit you with a stick. All the kids are quiet. No, it's not going to be that. That's not going to be what's going to be. The whole idea of the future redemption is that all potential will be revealed. All potential will be revealed. Every individual will express her individuality, his uniqueness, because that's what God made. God made. So how can it be that everyone is going to do the same thing? They're all going to do tshuva. They're all going to come to the land of Israel. They're all going to be religious. Oh, where's individuality? What happened to uniqueness? What happened to intimacy? What happened to the soul? What happened? What's two opposites? Therefore, Rebbe Eliezer says that the Jewish people redeemed when they do tshuva. They'll all do tshuva. Each person on his own, one by one, they'll all awaken in their own individual way. The Rebbe, that's what Rebbe Eliezer says, right? Rebbe Eliezer says. Rebbe Yeshua says, no, God's going to do the whole thing. If he does the whole thing, then that's the opposite of what the future redemption is. The opposite is supposed to be individuality. It's supposed to be uniqueness. What happened there? So he says, I'll tell you what happens. There is such a thing in the world which is called truth. Absolute truth. There is such a thing called absolute truth. Up to now, everybody has claimed that they are the possessors of it. This religion, this political idea, this philosophy, that philosophy. This is the truth. The truth. But the fact is that none of them have gotten to the right point. It's almost something like, all these scientists are talking about where the world came from. What's the origin of the world? They're out of their water. Science can only talk about two things. The origin means there had to be something before there was any things. Where did it come from? Where did it come? Where did it come from? The same thing is human reality, human souls. Where did they come from? Where are they from? So it says it comes, just like the world comes from something that's so infinitely, intensely real that it's impossible to measure it. Infinite. The same thing is the soul comes from a source which is so infinitely real. That's what it means that God chose the Jewish people. That's the point of God's choosing, God's, so to speak, free will. In one way, that's what it means that man is made in the image of God. When God reveals the essence of his free will, why he created the world, why, then automatically everybody wakes up. Truth. Everybody's just shaken by the truth. That's what it says. It says it's such a high place. Kasher Geula, when the revelation is such a high place of godliness. It says that God makes it, God from above makes everything firm. Azai then ish v'ishuladbo. Then even ish mazriya techila. Then even if God, he does everything. Nevertheless, the result will be strong individuality. Everyone on their own will decide, choose personally to serve God. Huh? Which, if you think for a second, Rebbe Yeshua, who says that God's going to do everything, that makes a little bit more sense. Because how does it make, I mean, Moshiach is going to come and convince everybody to serve God. There's a lot of people that simply don't want to listen. They don't want to listen to Moshiach. They don't want to listen to anybody. They really think that they have their own way. They're set in their own way, and their way works. A lot of them, the way works fine. There are a lot of people in Israel, I know, that they don't believe in God. They don't believe in anything. They don't keep any of the commandments. They don't keep Shabbos. They don't eat kosher, and they live fine lives. They have fine lives, right? Their children love them. They love their children. They love their wives. They get along well. They do well in business. They help people. They're generous. They're kind. They're honest. Huh? They're honest. They're nice people. What do you have to have Torah and mitzvahs for? You really telling this person would say, "Oh yes, I think I'm going to do the Torah and mitzvahs because that's my true essence," right? Why is it true essence? What he's got good friends. They all think exactly like he does, right? They live okay lives, as good lives as anybody that I know here in Kfar Chabad. I know maybe personally, deeply inside they're unsettled or something. There's a lot of religious people that are unsettled also, right? So so the answer is that no. The answer is that to feel the creator of the universe and that the creator of the universe really wants us to do commandments, then everyone will do automatically. But that's a big miracle. And that's what Rebbe Yeshua says. Everyone will feel the creator of the universe and the same urge that they have to be honest, good, righteous, how do you say, the proper people and kind and honest and people with values and things like that, right? Leftist values, whatever they have, honesty and truth and progress and things like that. All of a sudden they realize, hey, that's what Torah is. That's what mitzvahs are. That's what serving God is. And they won't want to do anything in order to go to heaven or to avoid hell or any religious reasons. They just want to do because it's the truth. That's Rebbe Yeshua's point of view. Okay, what's it going to be then? How is it going to be in the future? Is it going to be like Rabbi Eliezer? Or we're going to see. But Tzarech Lav, we have to understand the Nogea La'ofen HaGeula, that in the way that's going to be the future redemption, the law is like Rabbi Eliezer. What do you mean law is like Rabbi Eliezer? It depends on us. Like the Rambam says, She'ein Yisrael Nigolim, that the Jewish people will not be redeemed unless they do tshuva. It's right in the beginning of the Rambam. Laws of tshuva. And regarding but that's how it's going to be. The Jewish people have to do tshuva on their own. They have to wake up each person on his own. But regarding the time of doing tshuva, it's brought in many places. Midrash, Hechrian, the Midrash says that the opinion is when is going to be the future redemption? Like Rabbi Yeshua, it's going to be in Nisan. Oh, so one second, that sort of doesn't work out. The time of Nisan, God does everything. But the law is that the future redemption is going to become because we do everything. So that's like Tishrei. So how does it work out? Yishlom, it says the explanation is according to what it says in the Tanya, Shakala Giluyim, that all the revelations that are going to be in the future to Luyim, they all depend, but Ma'aseinu Ba'avodaseinu, in our deeds and our service. B'meshech Zman HaGolot, in the time of exile. Right? Let's just say the time of exile is the last 2,000 years, since the second temple is destroyed. Since the second temple has been destroyed, that's the time of exile. But we're left Israel. Officially, we're left Israel. That's officially exile. The Jews leaving Israel, the majority of Jews, leaving Israel. When the majority of Jews leaving Israel, that's called exile. Even though the fact is that really the Jewish people, until all the Jews are in Israel, that's not it's called exile. After the first temple was destroyed, all of the Jews never returned to Israel. There was always Jews scattered around somewhere. In the first temple, they were all in Israel. But okay, let's just say, but anyway, for simplicity's purposes, let's say after the second temple. So we've been 2,000 years in exile, scattered all over the world, under all sorts of strange forces and strange countries. And even now, we've got the land of Israel. We're worried about what the United States says and what this says, and the Eretz Israel is filled with all sorts of our enemies. We let them. We gave them Gaza. We gave them our enemies, our worst enemies. We personally gave them a little country in the middle of our in the middle of Israel. So that's exile. I don't think there's any bigger exile than that. And exile. So, but what is going to bring the future redemption? It says in the Tanya, the service the Jews do in the time of exile. And it doesn't have to be all the Jews, even one Jew. The fact that one Jew is willing, even more, if, let's say, God forbid, all the Jews don't do Torah mitzvahs, one Jew does, it means he has to defy the whole world. That defiance of all the world, including defying all the Jews, that's an amazing feat. That's an amazing feat. That's what's going to bring the future redemption. And how much more so if there's 2 Jews, 3 Jews, they defy communism, they defy the concentration camps in Germany, they put on tefillin. This is, according to all opinions. All opinions say that the future redemption will be brought about by means of our work and our suffering and our unanswered prayers and etc. But according to Rebbe, it's the future redemption is going to be how? According to, we have to work. Our service of God. Right? All religious Jews genuinely wait for Mashiach. We pray for Mashiach. Every single one of our prayers in the Shemona Esrei is just for Mashiach. We're just praying for Mashiach. Either they say explicitly or implicitly with Mashiach. It's Samach David Avdecham Ered, or maybe Goel Livnei B'neihem, Goal Yisrael. Ela Shaladad Rebbe Yeshua. According to Rebbe Yeshua, this is going to be by means of our deeds in the time of exile, will draw down a big revelation from above. How is it going to be? Not on its own, that all the service and the work we do to serve God in the time of exile is because of the power of the revelation from above. Like we're going to learn. How is it that I serve God? I have the power. I put on tefillin every day. I learn Torah. I give charity. Where did I get these ideas to do this? It comes from me. What do you mean? I made the decisions, right? Oh yeah, where'd you get your free will from? Free will it's mine. That's free will. No, free will is a big gift that God gave you. How do you make the right choices? How do you know what to choose? I just know. I know what to choose. No, if God doesn't help you, you're never going to make the right choices. If God doesn't help you, there's no way you'll make the right choices. Like I just told you, there's people I know in Israel and that they're not religious, they're anti-religious, they don't do anything religious, and they live okay lives. What would make a person like that decide, I want to put on tefillin, I want to keep Shabbos, I want to do, why? Why? Well, let's say somebody comes and says, you're going to burn in hell if you don't do it. It says, get out of my house. What is burning in hell? What are you talking about? You burn in hell. I'm enjoying my life. I've got a good life, right? And I don't go around threatening people and making people feel miserable. I try to make people feel good. Leave me alone. It has to be for a person like this that he realizes, wow, you know what? Let's start keeping Shabbos. Why? Because it's true. It's the right thing to do. What are we going to get out of it? We already have a rest day. I don't know what we're going to get out of it, but it's the truth. You know, it could be maybe we'll lose our job, maybe we'll lose it, but it's the truth. I want to do it because it's true. That's the only reason. Oh, this is a blessing from above. That a person all of a sudden, basically, it's that way with everybody. How do comedians have funny jokes? God sends them a funny joke. It gives them a sense of humor. All of a sudden they touch it. There's some people that can get on the stage and they can say the same jokes. Nobody laughs, right? Why? It's a blessing from the. It's sometimes a person can say the same jokes, but it's just the wrong time. You said it to the wrong audience. All these things are big blessings. These are big, obvious blessings. The fact is that everything is a blessing. So Rebbe Yeshua will say, how is it that the future redemption is going to be by means of our work? And everyone agrees with that. When Rebbe Yeshua says the future redemption is going to come in Nisan, and Nisan is the month that everything happens from God, he says very simply, that which we make the right decisions and we serve God, that comes from God. That's a revelation from God. It's God's inspiration. It's God's blessing. According to this, now we can understand hativuk, to make harmony of the two sentences that we talked about the two decisions we said before. On one hand, it says, Ein Yisrael Nigolim Rambam. Maimonides says the Jewish people will not be redeemed unless they do tshuva. But on the other hand, it says in Nisan, we are going to be redeemed. Everybody seems to agree with that, both of these. And they seem to contradict. If the Jewish people are going to do tshuva, they have to do tshuva. It means it all comes from us. That's the idea of Tishrei. And it's going to be in Nisan, means everybody's going to automatically do it. How is it going to work? Kizeshi Israel, that fact that the Jewish people, they do tshuva at the end of their exile. And miyad, all of a sudden there's massive changes that everybody in the world decides the Torah is true and God is true and the Jewish people are true and all the Jewish people do the truth. Why? This is because when the Jewish people do tshuva at the end of the exile, they have the power from revelation from above. That's Nisan. So in other words, it's both going to come together. The Jewish people, in other words, God is going to gather the Jewish people together, but he's going to inspire miraculously every Jew to do more on his own. So the Jewish people will do tshuva. They'll return to their Jewish identity, but they'll do it because there's going to be a big blessing. God is going to help them. Why is he only going to help them then? Why doesn't he help us now? Because that's what God decided. And as is gathered up all of the positive energy that the Jewish people have expended through these 2,000 years to serve God, and it's added more and more. I mean, I just sometimes think about this as really just sort of mind-boggling. How many Jews there are that died serving God, or they died because they're Jews, and nobody even knows where they are. No one knows where they're buried. How many Jews in Siberia? I'm not talking about the Holocaust. The Holocaust, there were millions, right? They weren't buried. Nobody knows where they are. Whole towns. I once learned in a kollel. It was called kollel Mamar. And they had this one, it was someplace in Hungary, it was Mamar, some sort of an area. And they had one room, was called the remembrance room, Cheder HaZikaron. It was all dark sort of there, and then there was plaques on the wall. It took me a while to get adjusted. And there was plaques on the wall of communities that were wiped out by the Nazis. Communities. There was like, I don't know, 100 or whatever plaques on the wall. This community, that community. Communities wiped out, but nobody knows who they were, where they're buried. They buried them, and they buried the people who mourned for them, and they buried the whole cities. Right nowadays, one person dies, the whole city comes out and mourns. Then they buried the whole city. They killed everybody. There was one person mourning for a whole city. And they died only because they're Jews. Okay, so now what we're saying is that all of that energy that was expended, all of those 2,000 years in self-sacrifice of the Jews is all going to come together, and God is going to make some sort of a miracle that's going to arouse every Jew in the essence of their soul, right? Essence of the soul, that the essence of their soul is going to start to, how do you say, wake up, tingle, or whatever it is called. And that's going to cause every Jew to serve God on their own. And you see it happening in Israel now. Like I say, every day I go to this nearby hospital, and outside where people are waiting, I ask people to put on tefillin. And you just be amazed. Some of the soldiers, they don't have a kippah on their head. They don't have tzitzis on. They don't I put on tefillin. I did it today. There's a lot of them that say no, and they're not ashamed. They're not, lying to me. Oh, I put on tefillin. I put on every day. You never dream that no sign that they're Jew religious at all. Tefillin I put on every day. It's happening. It's coming from the inside. The people are doing the truth only because it's the truth. Okay, we're going to just begin this a little bit. Let's see. We'll start. We'll do it tomorrow. Yuvan said this is going to be understood of what it says in the Midrash. There's a Midrash. So the Midrash says something like this. It says that on the day that God got married, that it says that his mother, this is like the day that God's wedding day, and it's the day that his mother gave him a crown. What does it say? What does it say? Shlomo Yom. I forgot. I'm sorry. I forgot the language. The day that his mother gave him a crown. Anyway, so it says what the Jewish people are called crown. They're called. God is called the mother of the Jewish people. It says, yeah, the Jewish people are there's one sentence that the Jewish people are called, they call God I'm sorry, the Jewish people are called God's daughter. Sometimes the Jewish people are called God's sister. And sometimes the Jewish people are called God's mother. Huh? It says, Mashal Melech says that what's a king? A king had a daughter. He loved her very much. It says, Lo Zavs Michavava. He did not, he loved her so much, she didn't move from his dearness. And he said, You are my daughter. Lo Zaz Michavava. And his dearness to her became even more. And he called her Achoti, my sister. Lo Zaz Michavava. It didn't, God, the Jewish people, God loved so much that he called the Jewish people Imi, my mother. Huh? So the Jewish people are called the mother of God. They're called the sister of God, and they're called the daughter of God. How can this be? It says the Midrash. Mavur, it's explained, the Gimel and Yanim, these three, they correspond to the three holidays. When the Jews left Egypt, that then the Jewish people were naked, they didn't have anything, and the redemption was by means of God doing it all. Nigla le'am melech malchim lachim, there is revealed the King of Kings, God, in his glory and his essence, and he redeemed them, but the Jewish people had nothing. Then the Jewish people were called my daughter. But a daughter is a receiver. A child doesn't receive. She hasn't got anything of her own. Only receives from those who are given. Then when the Jewish people on the holiday of Shavuot, so that's the holiday of Passover. Then the Jewish people on Shavuot, when they receive the Torah, then they're called my daughter. God called the Jewish people my daughter. Why? Because a brother and a sister, I'm sorry, they're called my daughter. I'm sorry. I made a mistake. Then they're called my sister. Then the Jewish people are called my sister. A brother and a sister are on the same level. When God gave the Torah, the Jewish people became Achim v'Reim l'Kodesh Baruch Hu. They became like brothers and friends to God. Ubechalolos in general, that by means of the Torah, the Jewish people become one with God. Like it says, Yisrael b'Reitz of Kodesh Baruch Hu kol chad. Like it says in the Zohar, that let's see, where's this? In the Zohar, it says, Jewish people and the Torah and God are one. The Al Yadesh Yisrael, that by means of the Jewish people, they're one with the Torah. By means of this, they become one with God. Then they're called my sister. They're equal on footing with God. But when the Jewish people do tshuva, they go to their essence, and that's above Torah. Why is it above Torah? Because God forbid a person can transgress the whole Torah. And if he does tshuva, he returns to his essence, then God forgives him. By means of tshuva, the Jewish people are called my mother. God calls the Jewish people my mother. That they, so to speak, they provide for God. Mashpim b'Kodesh Baruch Hu. Oh, this is the sentence I want. Like it says, Se'en Orena, go out, the daughters of Zion. The Melech Shlomo ba'atera she'atera lo imo. His mother gave him a crown on the day of their marriage. So here we have the Jewish people are called daughters, they're called mother, and they're called on the same level. They're called chatanuto, they're called the wife of God. The wife of God, that's like a sister, the same level. The Yom Chatanuto, the day of the wedding, that's Yom Kippurim. By means of tshuva of Yom Kippur becomes the completion of tshuva. Then the Jewish people, they become a crown. They give a crown to God. Then they're called a mother. The crown, my mother. Imo. This we're going to continue tomorrow. But what have we learned up to now? We've learned that on the month of Nisan will be the future redemption, but it'll be because the Jewish people do tshuva, and that tshuva will come as a result of God's inspiration to us. How is it going to be both of them together? That we'll do everything on our own, but God is going to do everything. That's going to be the tshuva of the month of Nisan and the future redemption. So the Rebbe says, I want to explain. This future redemption is not like anything you've ever heard before. And how are we going to explain it? Sometimes God calls the Jewish people my daughter. Sometimes we're called, and that's when we took us out of Egypt. Sometimes we're called God's sister. That's when he gave us the Torah. We're on equal footing, so to speak, with God. And sometimes the Jewish people are called God's mother. How? When we do tshuva, when we reach our essence. And this is what we're going to talk about, God willing, tomorrow. Okay, let's go to